Hello, hello. How is everyone today? Welcome to episode 40 of the Travel
Ooh.
Talk Show, a product of the Tourism Marketing Group, broadcasting live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. PST from our base camp somewheres in beautiful Maple Leaf, Canada. I am your co-host of the Travel Talk Show, Greg Gerard. I'm co-bro founder of ehCanadaTravel.com. We were just voted the best nationwide adventure travel company by Lux Life Hospitality Awards, announced last month, January 2021.
Thank you, Lux Life.
Yes, good one. And we also pen, of course, our blog there, Junior, Two Brothers, 2 Feet, 2 Curious, 2 Canadian. It was ranked 23rd of the top 1,000 global travel bloggers, Global Rise 2020.
Nice.
Global
Yes,
Rise.
excellent. Thank you.
Right?
Thank you, Global Rise.
Yeah.
Woo!
So maybe since you've been itching to talk, how about you introduce yourself?
I am the other, how do you put it? Co-bro? Co-bro host? Co-bro host?
Co-bro.
Co-bro. Yeah, I'm the co-host of this wonderful travel talk show and co-owner and head tech and keeper of the code of ehCanadaTravel.com.
Excellent introduction, and we're very proud to have you as a relation.
Thanks a lot. And did you say it was episode 40?
Yeah, 40.
It says 37.
Good point. You know why?
No, please.
Because our guest was unable to come here at an unreal, ungodly hour in her country of Spain. We had to pre-record this. And at the time, it was going to be episode 37. But unfortunately, because of our tight schedule, because we are booked 3 months in advance with very honorable and good guests, this was the date where we could slot it back in.
The best guests ever.
Excellent guests. Yes, we do have those. So back to the show. And again, if you have any brilliant questions, just like what my bro host asked, please post them underneath us. Right below there, you got a comment section. We all know how Facebook works. Those comments, we actually get to see most of them. We don't get to see all of them. We get to see most of them. I have no idea why that is. But if we do see it, as of Samantha Sewell, which is Miss World Tourism, is going, whoa, congratulations there to our team there, Call.
That's awfully nice, Samantha. Good to see you.
Yep. And our friend Tanya Stewart is giving us the big congrats at 4-0. That's our age 2, right, Cole?
Well, you're the older brother, so that would make me 3-7.
I gotcha. So the Travel Talk Show, just so you all know the rules of the game, the Travel Talk Show is recorded live every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. PST on Facebook and now available on YouTube. So stuff happens, man. Sometimes the video cuts out. Sometimes the audio isn't up to snuff. Well, deal with it. Welcome to the internet. And case in point with this recording, my end's a little bit ruffled and a little echo. And then we have our wonderful guests coming to us from the World Food Travel Association in Spain, Jane Connelly. So the following day, what we're going to do is us here at Canockle Heads will feature this episode on our live scrolling travel community feed on our award-winning website. So that's very cool. Check that out. There's posts every day from all over Canada. If you would like to be part of that travel community, please sign up. We'll also be posting it on our Twitter, Instagram, right, Call, Pinterest, Tumblr, and LinkedIn.
You are right there, Greg. Everybody see it and share wherever you are.
Yep. And like the cherry on the sundae, at the end of the month, we will feature all of our guests for the months of January and February on our award-winning blog, which is called Two Brothers, 2 Feet, 2 Curious, 2 Canadians. So it's pretty safe to say, Junior, that we're welcoming everyone to the best Canadian show online.
You don't want to miss it. I mean, Stay tuned, eh?
Exactly, eh? So tonight, we're very fortunate to be talking with Jane Connelly of the World Food Travel Association. Jane was nice enough to connect with us from Spain. It was a 9 o'clocker in the morning, so we all know how I am in the morning, a jolly old soul. And it was her 6 o'clock in the evening, coming from the beautiful country of Spain. So tell you a little bit about what's going on here. The food and beverage is the largest area of tourism employment, accounting for 1/3 of visitor spending. In many ways, to experience culture is through our food. If you look at a lot of the travels around, food is hand in hand with culture. In Canada, there are organizations, which is great, that are working very hard to bring culinary food tourism to the forefront. One of such is the Culinary Tourism Alliance. They work with communities to grow food tourism by leveraging the history, heritage, and culture behind the food and drink that makes each destination unique. So we do have somebody who's got a voice in our country for the food and tourism. Okay, so according to a 2019, give you a little bit of a brief snapshot before we bring Jane on. According to 2019 Destination Canada report, one of the biggest spend increases is in food tourism. So we're starting to identify foods that are pertinent to the Canadian culture. That is both all types of foods from all eras of our Canadian culture. And for example, two of the largest markets, Japanese visitors, spend on food and beverage was up 2 million, 91% in Toronto. Of this report, which was in 2019, and then of course the Germans, who love BC because of the wood and the wilderness, they increased their spending on food and beverage by 3 million, 78% in BC. But there's always a but. I mean, why is that? What's with always the but? But however, as of Q2 2020, COVID tourism year, the food and beverage industry was down 66.1%, according to this report. So
that's a big but.
That is a very big but. So, there's a lot going on. So let me tell you a little bit about our friend coming on the show. Her education, experience, and curiosity has provided Jane with a unique perspective, an unmatched insight into innovative and sustainable destination development projects, initiatives, and strategies. Jane, who's a big food and culinary tourism advocate, is also a moderator on a show called Food Travel Talk TV, which is, hey, she fit right in with this sort of format, right?
Mm-hmm.
What you might not know there, Junior, and our listeners tonight and around the world forever, because this is on the internet forever, the World Food Travel Association is the world's leading authority on food and beverage tourism. The WFTA, now I can use the initials because, it's the cool, is the world's oldest and largest food tourism organization. And they specialize in strategic planning and development of international food tourism programs and initiatives. So if you want, and if you are in the food tourism and culinary tourism industries, we will be flashing Jane's contact information all during her interview. So please get your pen and paper ready and be ready to contact somebody who's in the know when it comes to food tourism around the world. Right, Carl?
I'm getting hungry just listening to your intro there, bro.
Are ya?
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is, again, I apologize for the recording on our end. Internet wasn't good. We're getting a little feedback, but you're going to get the gist of this. And again, it's not me you want to hear anyways. It's Jane Connelly that you want to hear. So again, let's put our virtual hands together and give Jane a big maple leaf welcome. And so here comes Jane onto the screen.
Years now, I've grown up in the company, and I have a little bit more responsibility as the program manager with them. So to tell you a little bit about the World Food Travel Association, we are a nonprofit organization that focuses on food tourism. So our mission is preserving and promoting culinary culture through hospitality and tourism. And to do this, we offer different resources. So we host the events, we have online education tools, we carry out research, and then we also do some culinary placemaking, sort of consulting work with destinations and businesses as well.
That's quite a plate you got there, Jane.
I know it is.
What
And there's more, yeah.
what a journey, eh? From Seattle to Barcelona.
Yeah, I'm just getting started too.
Yeah.
That will take me.
You go. Excellent. So Jane, on your website, because that's what we do here at ehCanada, is when we have a guest, we gotta do our own little research. So on your website, you state you were inspired by food heritage, which I love that word, food heritage, and you believe that culinary experiences are the engines for sustainable, and that's key in the statement, sustainable economic development and preservation of culture. I found that statement on your website quite intriguing, and I was wondering, could you maybe, where does this passion for culinary tourism come from, and maybe give us a little insight on that statement?
Sure. So I think sometimes passions, it's really hard to pinpoint, exactly the origin for something like that. I think a lot of times it's different experiences, different relationships that you've had over time. But what really was, I'd say, the pinnacle for me, again, I ended up doing something a little bit cliche in my life. I had a bit of a lifestyle movement where I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with my life. And so I decided to do the Camino de Santiago. Do you know?
Yes, I've seen them. Yeah.
In northern Spain. So it's this pilgrimage, and it's very, very common for people to take a break, and you go and you walk the Camino, and it's supposed to give you some kind of clarity, I don't know, dealing with problems or life. Yeah. So I decided to do that. This was before I had decided to, follow my passion and study my master's. And on the first day of doing the Camino, I met someone and we decided to walk the Camino together. And he told me that he was working in something called food tourism, in something called culinary tourism. I love it. And I was just like, well, what is that? And he's like, yeah, well, it's, it's culinary culture, culinary assets. It's, developing destinations around culinary. And I'm thinking in my mind, this is what I've been doing. I've been traveling to destinations for 10 years doing this. I had no idea that this was actually an industry that you can work on and help promote and help develop. Yeah. So from there, I started putting the pieces together of what this life of seeking out authentic food experiences, getting to know cultures through their food, what that really meant. It was just something I did. I was that nerd pre smartphone, before smartphones existed, before social media, that I had my little Canon digital camera that I was taking pictures of my food. And my friends would always make fun of me. Why are you doing that? And it was like, for me, it was just, that's what I wanted to remember of my travels. That's what I wanted to remember of my experiences. So all of a sudden I had this moment where I realized it was something, that it was an industry, and that it can be a mechanism for change in the world. So going back to food heritage, to me, that represents everything that's unique, culinary speaking, of a destination. So that can be ingredients, that can be cooking techniques, it can be traditions, customs, it can be standout players like chefs, local ambassadors, anything that makes a destination unique, for me, can be classified as their food heritage.
So let me get this straight. You were a foodie first.
Yes.
A foodie. I gotcha.
Before that term even existed.
Yeah. Yeah. So you were a foodie before it was cool.
I guess so.
So how does food tourism fuel economic development and preserve culture in your eyes? So do you have, maybe you've got some examples of that economic development, that preserving of culture, that you could maybe provide us with?
Yeah, so when you look at food tourism, and especially economic development, you really have to look at the value chain of food tourism. So what does that mean? That means the production of a product. So that could be the farmer growing the apple,
Mm-hmm.
And then the lifespan, or what happens to that apple until it finishes in maybe a niche experience of a cider tasting in with a cider tour or something like that. And so you're looking at the whole value chain of all the players involved in this food tourism experience. So you can visit the apple farm, you can sell the apple products, and then you can even turn it into an experience or attraction with tasting or making your own cider. So you have this idea of basically adding value to a product that already exists.
Okay. Okay.
For example, one example could be, imagine you own a hotel, a bed and breakfast, and one added value that all of a sudden you can make your hotel fit, let's say, on the culinary map, is for breakfast, you decide to offer local products and local ingredients. And you say, okay, so for breakfast at our hotel, we're going to buy the bread from the bakery down the street. We're actually going to make homemade marmalade with the figs that we grow outside. And then we're going to source cheese from the local farmer. And in the breakfast, we're actually going to put signs that tell about this. So you bring in storytelling, and they go, oh, well, actually, maybe later after our hike, we're going to stop by the bakery and buy some of that great bread we had this morning. Right. And so all of a sudden, with small change, I mean, it's not that much of a bigger investment, you've made the experience much more memorable and valuable to the visitor through offering these unique food experiences.
In the bio that I was reading, it says that WFTA is the world's leading authority on food and beverage tourism, serving annually a community of nearly 200,000 professionals, which is massive, in 150 countries. So here's my question. The food travel tourism sector is gaining momentum here in Canada as well. Not nearly on the scale of our European friends or on the scale of some of the countries in your part of the woods, but could you explain maybe to Canadians the actual potential size of this industry, which I don't think they fathom, and the opportunities available when we get on our side of the pond and we start developing a sustainable food travel industry? Maybe you can help us out a little bit there on how can we get to that point?
The interest in food with everyone has been growing over the years, and I think it's growing even in the pandemic. So this interest of people, even local residents, wanting to understand their local food culture, or people at home now watching Netflix, street food, all of this, let's say, new content. There's a lot of content being produced right now about unique, amazing food experiences. This is drawing inspiration for people, and they're starting to, let's say, make their bucket list, their foodie bucket list for when we can travel again. And so it's important to know that the trend with consumers is growing, right? That hasn't changed at all because of the pandemic. Whereas the opportunity for businesses, again, like I said earlier, I'm such a nerd that I think food tourism can be incorporated in almost anything. Because everyone wants a snack, everyone likes to eat and drink. Like you said, with adventure travel, imagine you go for a hike, and at the end of your hike, you have a cooler with local microbrews and some local cheese and crackers. And you tell people about the local brewery and about the cheese. And they've left now with not only this amazing hiking experience, but with this memorable food experience. And so there's a lot of opportunity that all different kinds of businesses can be doing. It's important as well, I think, in tourism. A lot of times we get a little bit stuck on always thinking about visitors, international visitors, and we forget about our local residents, when really they're just as important, right? A tourism product, an attraction, an experience is valuable to international visitors if it's popular with locals, right? Everyone wants to experience the local and authentic,
Yeah.
right? So if you're only selling to international visitors, they arrive and there are no local people around enjoying what you have to offer, they're starting to think, well, is this authentic?
Mhm.
Is this a unique experience? So I think
Yeah.
it was really smart of them to focus on the domestic market as well.
Yeah, and to their credit, everyone here was sort of shocked at it. Everyone here in our country is going, well, that's brilliant. When it's pretty much common sense in my book. Like, you got great food. You got a domestic market here that hasn't tried the local ice cream or the local lobster tail or the local coffee shop or the local beans or whatever. And I think, and it's like you, they had it opened up, and we actually did have little place cards about each business and where it came from and how it was grown and all the eco-conscious ingredients that were involved with that package. So yeah, I agree with you. I think kudos to them. And to us,
do you know what's also really smart about something like that is that it builds a local pride. So people understand what they have, they try it, and they go, oh, wow, this is amazing. I had no idea we had such amazing lobster. And then when they do travel, let's say they travel to Spain and I meet them, they go, wow, if you like lobster, do you know where you have to visit? You have to come to my hometown and try the lobster here. And so they turn in to these sort of brand ambassadors for your destination or for your local businesses.
Jane, you have this knowledge, you have this tools, you have these training materials. Could you expand on that, on how a Canadian restaurant, pub, entertainment venue, how they could capitalize on this training library, let's call it, that the WFTA has?
Sure. So I think probably the most relevant resource that we have, it's about to be launched. We've done some renovations to it. So it's getting a little update, but it's about to be launched, and it's a masterclass, food tourism and food service. So that would be the most relevant. And basically through that class, we take you through what you just mentioned, how to leverage food tourism in your food service business.
Okay.
And other than that, I would say we host a free kind of informal discussion once a month about different food tourism topics. And so I think those can be interesting to sign on and just kind of open your mind. We have international visitors and international guests that appear on the show. And so you get to have different perspectives. Maybe you hear about case studies about what people are doing in other parts of the world, different solutions that people are finding. That can be a really good resource. We have an event coming up, an online event, obviously, in April, which will be sustainability in food tourism. And those are always, they're international based. And so they might be a specific case study, but the learnings are always applicable to almost any business around the world.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
And then the last thing is we're about to release our annual State of the Food Travel Industry report. And that is a free report that anyone can download, and you get great insights of kind of what we might be expecting in this next upcoming year in the food travel industry.
Excellent. 3 points. One is the webinars you hold for this, are they free?
The webinar is free. Yeah, the monthly webinar talk show is free. The online events, the summits, they're called Food Trek Summits, are not free, but they're usually pretty affordable pricing. And
is that through a membership to the World Food Travel Association, that the last one you talked about, or?
No, that is just anyone can attend. So we will start to market it. You can find it on our website, worldfoodtravel.org, and then we'll start to market it. You can sign up for our newsletter, for example, and we always update. You know, we have a podcast as well. And I think probably signing up for our newsletter is the best way to stay up to date on resources that we've been, you know, working on and releasing for the industry.
Find all that on the worldfoodtravel.org website?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. So all of you Canadianites out there who are working in the food industry and the beverage industry, you need to get a hold of this very knowledgeable and professional Jane Connelly of the World Food Travel Association and tune into this worldfoodtravel.org. And we've also been putting up Jane's contacts on her social media feeds. Feel free to follow her. I have been following her. I love her posts that she puts on some of her the social media I follow. I've been learning about it. And we're very happy to have Jane on the show. So please make sure that you follow one of her social medias at least. Treat your business to some knowledge. And again, you can find a lot more about Jane on any of the feeds we've been putting up, or you can contact her and find her directly on the worldfoodtravel.org website. So Jane, the food and beverage industry is very interactive. It is a personal, face-to-face, laugh, joy, have food, drink wine, enjoy your time, get to meet new connections. It's very personable. However, many restaurants and pubs are the casualties of COVID here in Canada, and that's taken that huge equation right out of it. There's no personal, no connections, there's no one-on-one anymore. So what's going to become of the food and beverage tourism industry with this big adjustment in our way of honoring our restaurants and pubs?
Yeah, it's hard to answer. It's hard to predict. I mean, if we've learned anything over this last year, it's really hard to really predict anything. But what I can say is that it appears that consumers will be thinking harder about how they want to spend their money.
Uh-huh.
So when you have that in mind, what are they looking for? They're going to be looking for value for money and quality. So I think the restaurants and the businesses that do survive are going to be high quality.
Okay. So are you saying that with that, are you saying like the mom and pop burger joint in between two communities on a main highway is going to have a hard time in most cases?
Well, it depends. If they make the best burger in the area and people drive, 30 minutes to go and get their burger, again, it comes down to the quality of the service, the quality of the burger, their history in the area. I mean, I don't think it really matters the type of business. It could be a burger shop, or it could be a gourmet restaurant, or it could be a retail shop. I think that obviously there are some circumstances that you can try your hardest and it's just impossible. Of course, that's like the saddest part of this entire pandemic, is that there are going to be many, many, many marvelous businesses that don't make it out. And that's really sad. Yeah. But what I can predict is just this urge and need for quality.
Okay. And one of the things here that we've been discussing within our industry is one of the I don't know what the word to use here, but one of the things that they're very concerned about, and what seems the consumer is really concerned about, are shipping charges. So delivery charges. When you get your end price, here's what you're going to get, and they're sort of blowing people out of the water. So are you finding others having that concern?
We, at least in Spain, there have been some talks about it, but we don't pay that extreme. That there hasn't been that extreme of price increase here for delivery.
Okay.
Like what's happening, I know in the US, there are a lot of memes and everything online that, you pay $50 at Postmates and you get a sub sandwich delivered to your house. So it's crazy. You're paying a lot of money for essentially nothing that's necessary.
Okay. Can digital marketing work for the food travel when it's such a taste and smell and feel type industry? Can digital marketing work?
Digital marketing is essential for food tourism. It's very, very, very important for food tourism.
Okay.
Even in our mission, preserve and promote culinary culture. So the promotion piece is digital marketing. So people need to be inspired right? So they need to see the videos, they need to see the pictures, they need to hear the stories, they need to read the articles, those top 10 lists, the 10 things you must eat in Vancouver, BC. All of those sort of digital marketing tactics, they're giving people inspiration, and they're sharing the stories of what people are doing. So you can be a small county in England doing amazing things with food tourism, but if you don't have digital marketing and you're not telling the area or the world about what you're doing, maybe you don't really reach the goals that you had wanted to achieve. It's an important piece of the formula, most definitely.
Music to my ears. That's what I gotta say. We're in a couple of areas in our country. We have some areas that are very drastically into over tourism, and from my contacts and from my partners overseas in your neck of the woods, over tourism is a lot more of a serious issue than it is over here. We're very spotted with Banff maybe, and Quebec City maybe, and Vancouver, of course, have that sort of impact. But what is the impact of over-tourism in the food and beverage travel industry?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, Barcelona could maybe be the best example for that question. We have a lot of food tourism here, and we have impacted a lot by over-tourism, let's say pre-pandemic. But I think that the threat of over-tourism in food and beverage, low quality, so low in your quality, and then everyone doing the same thing. So, people say, okay, this works. People just come in and they want paella and sangria. And so that's all we need to give them. That's all we need to do. And our restaurant will be full every day. And we don't have to focus on storytelling. We don't have to focus on local ingredients. We don't have to even focus really on the service we give, because with over-tourism, we know that our restaurant, if it's in the right location, is going to be full every single day. And so that's a real threat to local culture, local heritage, the quality. When you're not supporting, if they're not sourcing locally, you're hurting the potential of creating, the circular economy locally and everything. So, yeah, it's a problem.
Yeah. And do you think that the restart that COVID has given the industry, and this is not just in food and travel, this applies to a lot of things that we specialize here with the adventure and ecotourism and the sustainable tourism aspect. Do you think COVID has given us a restart? And do you think the industry has brained up a bit and realized that this is a restart?
I think there has been a lot of talk about it being a restart. I think there's been a lot of talk about doing things differently. I think there's been a lot of talk about, all these solutions, but humans forget pretty quickly things. So I'm normally an optimistic person, but I'm also realistic. And I don't know. I hear a lot of talk right now, but I have yet to see any of these solutions realistically implemented. When 5 or 6 cruise ships start arriving to Barcelona at the same time, what realistically is going to happen?
Yeah.
Will there really be a change?
Yeah.
I don't know.
We just did a op-ed on that a while ago, and how our associations are saying, all touting change, but all we're seeing coming out of their marketing department is same. Yeah. And that scares me a lot.
Well, this is my question. Will the consumers want something different? Will the consumers really want something different? Will the people who decide to take a cruise next summer, will they come to Barcelona and will they want to pay more money for something local and authentic? Or do they want cheap frozen paella and a big thing of sangria?
Exactly.
A lot of it's driven by the demand.
Yeah. So if we can take how everyone's following COVID worldwide so well, that might be a good example of how, like you said, us humans are very habitual, and changing that habit is going to be, I think, a global effort is going to be required to get that message across for that. Because I'm like you, I'm an optimistic, but I'm a realistic, and I'm praying that we wake up a bit. Because one thing I can tell you for sure with COVID, it has shown the cracks in our industry.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that our leaders, and I'll use that loosely in our country, our leaders take note and start applying some of the concepts that have been suggested to them by the industry. There's that disconnect between the front line and stakeholders is just too big. There's not enough conversation going on between them. So that's just my little 2-bit. Jane, is there, before we let you go, is there anything you would like to leave us Canucks and us, our Canadian audience, and of course our world audience, if you would like to leave or add anything maybe we haven't covered or something you'd like to share with us before we let you go?
Honestly, it's just been a pleasure for me to share this time with you. So first of all, I just want to thank you for having me on here, and to remind anyone listening, if they want to get in touch with me to talk about food tourism, I'm always open. I love brainstorming. I love trying to find solutions. I love just talking about food and tourism. So anyone that's interested in learning more about, or maybe looking at their situation and brainstorming ideas about maybe how food tourism could tie into their own COVID recovery, please reach out to me, and I would be happy to see if I can help give you some inspiration or ideas, maybe.
Excellent. So we put Jane's email at the bottom of our little screen here, and we've also put her social media. She is on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Twitter. Did I miss anything there?
No, I think that's all.
Okay, LinkedIn, Instagram, and Twitter, you can get a hold of Jane. And like she said, she's encouraging questions, encouraging you to reach out. So again, here at the Travel Talk Show of the Tourism Marketing Group, we would like to say very thank you for Jane Connelly of the World Food Travel Association for joining us today and enlightening us on the opportunities and the potential of the food travel industry to grow in a positive and meaningful way here in Canada and globally. So again, Jane Connelly, thank you so much for joining us today. Canadians say thank you. We say thank you. And we wish you all the best in the Food Travel Association future that you have. So thank you again.
Thank you very much. Take care.
Take care.
Bye.
Hello, we're back. What did you think? Call a little education on the culinary tourism industry by our new friend, very knowledgeable, Jane Connelly of the World Food Travel Association. What'd you think? My brother is on mute.
Hey, how's that?
Man, I like it way better on mute. I liked it better on mute.
That was an awesome show. I mean, Jane was a great interview and a wealth of information. And I mean, everybody should watch her webinar to start.
Yeah, I mean, the nice thing about the World Food Travel Association is they got a whack, and I was looking, they got a whack of programs for regions to put programs together for small businesses, for restaurants. They got a ton of stuff there that they can help you through. And not only that, Jane put her email out there, so you can get a hold of her one-on-one and talk to her and brainstorm with her. As she said, she's welcoming it. And I think as Canadians, I think there's a huge opportunity here.
I think she's going to be a busy girl.
I hope so. Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. I know I was enthralled by the concept, and what I really like is some of the connections we have with these people on the belief system. You know, not everyone's following there's words like following the blindly. There's some of us out there that are having a voice, that are trying to change things and get things to work on a more even scale. The disconnect is just too big. It's just too far.
I agree with you totally.
Yeah. So that's it for episode 40, bracket 37. of the A Travel Talk Show. We are your host
Yeah.
of the A Travel Talk Show. My name is Greg Gerard, and the gentleman, the awesomeness of my little brother, Colin Gerard.
Colin Gerard, yeah.
We are the Brothers of Tourism. We are also co-bro founders of ehCanadaTravel.com and the A Canada Marketing Group. Please support us. We are privately operated. We are not government at all. We are privately operated. We work for the frontline tourism. We're boots on the ground researchers, and we got a lot of cool programs coming down the line. Please follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, and YouTube. You can also watch our social media channels for an opportunity that we are developing and about to launch about our new Canadian Adventure Seeker program. Tune in for that great thing. You're going to love it. We've tested it out with some people. Mr. Tech next door, he's working on all the back end, getting it all in place. And we're going to be announcing it. And we hope all of you, every single one of you, sign up and become a Canadian Adventure Seeker.
That sounds awesome.
Thank you for tuning in to Canada's live travel talk show. As you know, things go wrong, and that's the beauty of the show. Like, where I love it. It doesn't have to be perfect, man. I mean, what's with this whole perfect world? Let's be human.
It never is. I got news for you.
I know. And we're not going to try and cover it up and shine it all up and put it. This is who you get. This is what you get. And we love it that way. So see you next week. Same time, same place, 7 p.m. PST right here on the ehCanadaTravel.com Facebook and YouTube page. And I believe, Colin, you got something yummy and good that you'd like to share and say goodbye to our wonderful friends here in Canada and abroad.
Oh, I would like to invite everyone to tune in next week. We have Sharon Bondhog. She's a director of Indigenous Tourism, which should be a great show.
Excellent.
Thanks.
And we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.